Hi, and welcome back to Chuck's Tuesday Tips. Today we're going to have to get a little political. I was trying to stay out of the fray, but it's impossible not to. We have to talk a little bit about a bill called Senate Bill 1221, and that pertains to bear hunting. And they've already passed this bill through, and it's on the governor's desk. And it's kind of imperative that we call the governor and ask him to veto this bill. Now what this bill does is it's going to ban hunting of bears with hounds. And I know this is a big emotional thing, and you know, it's a tough deal because some people say shouldn't hunt with hounds, this and that. Well, regardless of how you feel about that, hound hunting has a purpose here in the state. We're being overrun with bears. You know, in 1990, they did a bear ban, and at that time the population was around 14,000 bears. In 1 year, they had to cancel it. They had to hire houndsmen, 5,300 of them, to come in and knock down the bears. And it wasn't really because of the population. It was because of the chaos and property damage and things that the bears were doing. Now we have over 40,000 bears estimated. Now the harvest is stopped at 1,700 bears. Houndsmen take about 45% of those. Now, houndsmen don't go out and run their dogs. They don't kill every bear that they run their dogs on. They're really selective. And what that does when they're running their hounds on the bears is it keeps them a healthy fear of man. It keeps them out of the towns. It keeps them, you know, away from it. If they wanted to kill bears, they could close the season in 2 weeks. It would be full because they could easily take 1,700 bears in a couple of weeks. It would be over. Well, they don't do that. The season runs from August here and coincides with deer season, and it goes all the way till Christmas Day. So in addition to that, regular hunters, about 32,000 of them, buy bear tags for the opportunity to maybe see a bear while they're out hunting deer. Now, out of those, only 55% of the amount harvested is harvested by those. So what's going to happen if we start hunting with hounds? I mean, the take is going to drop dramatically. The population's going to explode, but more important than that is going to be the damage to property and the public safety issues. I mean, here in Ojai, I live in a rural area. We actually do have bears that come down into town. 2 years ago, we had one that was treed up over on the east end of town. They ended up having to kill it, you know. And so, God, I know this is a hot issue. I know it's not popular. I know it's not warm and fuzzy, and you know, no one likes to talk about the truth. But I really need you to call Jerry Brown, or as I call him, Governor Moonbeam, at 916-445-2841, and please ask him to veto this bill. And there's got to be a better way, because it's even going to affect the bears. I mean, just as many or more are going to have to be killed by government hunters. You know, people aren't really aware that they have animal control people, and just for example with the mountain lions, just because we don't have season on them doesn't mean that they don't have to kill them. Now what they have to do, instead of having hunters harvest them and using the resource, they have to hire people, go out, shoot them, and then they put them in the freezer or kick them down the hill or whatever. And more lions are dying now than if we just had season. So I know it's not a popular thing, and you know what, if you're not a sportsman or a hunter, you think, well, how does that affect me, or I'm just a fisherman? Well, let me tell you, it's going to affect you, because the Humane Society of America's total goal is to ban hunting and fishing in the United States. And also, you know, if you don't think the silliness can reach you, they've just banned 32-ounce drinks in New York, which is crazy, because a 32-ounce cup, you put ice in it, not even 32 ounces anymore. It's like maybe 16 ounces. It's nuts. They banned plastic bags here in Ojai with the handles, you know. And then peanut butter and jelly's causing racial controversy, for crying out loud. Whoever thought all this crazy stuff would even be? So if you don't think that this is going to affect you, you know, maybe not. But maybe someday they're going to decide, hey, you can't play tennis because you hit the ball too hard and it might bounce off the guy's head and caught, you know, I don't know. Or you have to wear a helmet or when you play tennis, or you have to do this, or you have to do that. You know, it's getting out of control a little bit, you know. And, I mean, in my day, they just, parents used to let us out at 6 in the morning when the sun came up. We weren't allowed to come home till it was dark. And if 3 or 4 of us were missing, hell, they just made new kids and figured those kids weren't meant to make it. It was like thinning the herd or something, you know. So anyhow, God, I hope I'm making sense to you guys. And we are going to have a regular tip to mounting the Bobcat. And we're going to do it start to finish. I know I said that a couple times, but I have Diego helping me edit now, so I can actually film the whole process, the whole making the habitat, the whole sewing, everything, and then we'll be able to edit it a little bit so that I won't have to skip around and be so rushed. And yes, there still will be all the epic failures when something breaks on me too and stuff like that, so you won't miss out on any of that stuff. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in to Chuck's Tuesday Tips, and we'll see you next week.